race, so I can't compete with you. I'm living my own way, walking light and speaking truth. Tomorrow is today, and you will always be with you. The viral done, I'll say, my love is here to stay. They trying to win a race.
Yo, peace everybody. Welcome back to another episode with Soular, the Magic Muse. This episode is going to be crazy just because of what we're going to talk about, right? So I'm just going to go over a list real quick of the things that we're going to be talking about in this, but I want to highlight this to y'all. Is the style that I like to deliver is more like a conversation style, more like a way for anybody to be able to grasp what I'm talking about. I don't want it to be too foreign to anybody because of the depths that I like to go to. I want this to be something for people who want to really get into spirituality the right way, able to do that. And my motive behind it, just so you can understand me a little more, is I believe in sovereignty in all dimensions. I come from a background of a lot of control, a lot of manipulation, a lot of things like that, and I had to come to a realization that that liberation we're looking for in life, that freedom is a spiritual thing, it's a spiritual journey. And once I realized that it was a spiritual journey, I stopped trying to do certain things, accomplish certain things, get certain things, and I started really trying to figure out who I was and what this is. I started going more towards the why rather than the what, okay? So for me, I want people to be able to do this without being manipulated, without being played by people, without, going too deep into the wrong direction. And what sparked this video was I myself was watching YouTube videos and I came across this one YouTuber, and I could tell that his page just blew up. He's doing really good. He's teaching a lot of esoteric things, but I also realized that at the same time, what he was teaching was like, it was right, but at the same time, he was saying a lot of things that were wrong in there. But it's not like you're a bad person. It was more like you don't know. You're working with what you got. Most of us are, okay? So let's check the status. All right, so let's get into it. First off, identity shifting. And this is for people, this is what we're gonna talk about. Identity shifting, we're gonna talk about, the right way to go about this practice if you're going to use it. There's another practice. Well, this is one thing I want to say is that there's no formula for your success on the internet. Okay, there is no formula for your specific, unique success story. We're going to talk about that. I want to talk about astrology, what astrology really is, its implications, and the dark truths about it, and why you should use it and shouldn't use it. Why shouldn't you use astrology? Like, what's wrong with it? Is it bad? There are things about it I would like to say. All right. So first off, also I want to break down dimensions to you, but that goes into astrology. So first off, let's get it right. Identity shifting is a practice where one would imagine themselves to be someone else. So in an attempt to manifest a certain life, a certain thing that comes with a certain life, you'd have to become that character, right? Okay. Well, in this process, the practice says to write down who you are. It says to write down what you want to become and get as detailed as you can of that character. Make this almost as another character, but it's going to be you. And you figure out everything they do in a day, you figure out all their vibrations, all their feelings, and you go as deep into that train of thought as you can. And this is supposed to be a third eye practice, a pineal gland practice, right? That's what it's supposed to be. And the goal is to visualize and feelize until you literally become this character. And you do actually have to do certain things and behave differently. And then it all adds up to you living this life that you described. Almost like writing your own prophecy. And I can see why a lot of people gravitate towards this, because it's like, I want to be the author of my own life. Like you said, sovereignty in all dimensions, right? Well, I want to be in complete control of my own life and myself. What we fail to realize is two things. One just came to my head was that we constantly think that what we want to do and what we want to accomplish is our thoughts, but a lot of these things are taught to us. from media or from society or just how we were raised. But I'm gonna make this short and sweet. Okay, short and sweet for you so that we can save our time, because that's important, right? What we want to acknowledge is that there is no better identity to shift into other than your highest self. I'll say it again for those in the back. There is no other identity to shift into consciously other than your higher self. And what you think you want to shift into may be far away from what you're really here to do, what your real purpose is. See, your purpose is that narrow path they talk about in the Bible. You know, it's just for you. And I want to go into this next segment right here, is that there is no internet formula for your success story. Dare to stand out. Dare to stand out, y'all. Because you can add all these different recipes and ingredients and methodologies and, you know, e-commerce. You could do this, you could get money this way or that way. But at the end of the day, if you're not doing, I mean, this is obvious, right? This is cliche, right? If you're not doing a spiritual work daily, all of those other things are just futile anyway. They're just here today, gone tomorrow type of vibe. But you are that forever. So it's like work on yourself. And if you're not enjoying the journey and you're not developing and becoming something consciously, spiritually, you know, then what are you really doing? You're building sandcastles. You see what I'm saying? It was fun, it was cool, but if you didn't do it for the experience and you did it to maintain the castle, well, good luck. Don't expect it to always be there. This is with relationships. This is with jobs. This is with houses, finances, all these different things that we build, reputation, status. Like, we build these things. But what we fail to realize is that if it's not in our purpose, ultimately it's sandcastles. There's something you can build that will last forever. There's something that you can do that has the biggest impact on the world possible. And do you know what that is? This is a common denominator for all of us. Best thing that you could do is heal yourself and become the best version of yourself. That is the best thing you could offer your children. That is the best thing you can offer a relationship. It's the best thing you could offer yourself. If you're not writing a character in identity shifting that is shifting you into your truest identity, well, we got a problem here. How do we know our truest identity? Do you know? Do you know how we can gauge it? And I mean, I don't mean like, do you know intuitively? Do you feel that? Because some people are intuitive, some people aren't. Some people need tools, some people need mentors, some people need guidance, some people need to step up and lead. And a lot of people aren't in their roles. So, with that being said, let's go into our next segment of astrology. And this is what I'm gonna do, is I'm gonna break down astrology real quick. Astrology is potential. This is why you should use astrology and why you shouldn't use astrology, because astrology is potential. These are things that the energy, it is what it is. Your energies, they are what they are. How you use them, it's a whole nother ball game. Your energies are what they are. So no, I would never be here to tell you who you are through an astrology reading. I would only tell you what their energies are doing. Number one, you won't have to use those energies and deal with that. Number two, it's up to you to be real with yourself enough to realize how you are using these energies or aren't using these energies. And then we can easily pinpoint the purpose through astrology. Many ways I can do this, a multitude of ways I can pinpoint purpose. You can do a fact check and even figure out what's not working for you, what's not supposed to work for you, to realize that that's what you've been pursuing. Bro, that's not your purpose. That's why it's so hard. That's why it's not working. That's why you keep getting pushed in this direction, because that's what you love to do, because that's what you're meant to do. When you stop waking up with purpose, biology moment, When you stop waking up with purpose, there's something in your chromosomes, in each of your cells, known as telomeres. These things are what allows your DNA to continuously replicate itself so the cells can undergo meiosis, mitosis processes. Okay? Now, these telomeres, they heal and build and stay strong when you wake up with purpose. When there's a reason why you're doing stuff, and the cells are like, oh, we gotta stay strong. But when you're not on that, that goes away. Your telomeres stop building themselves. Eventually, these cells lose the ability to reproduce, and this is what aging looks like. This is what depression looks like. If you want to be prettier, try raising your vibration. You don't need to be super buff. You don't need to be super tall. You don't need to be super strong. You need to be at peace. You need to be at oneness with yourself. The goal of astrology is to transcend astrology, is to be able to figure out who you are uniquely, so much so, in this infinite possibilities, the possibility that you are, that unique piece, for you to take that code, find that code, see what the path is, and take that back to the source. And once you are aligned again, this is the best version of you to offer to the world. Any other version is like a bot. It's like, yeah. But if you really think about these movies and shifting through dimensions and seeing other versions of you, is there another version of you? Like, if you saw another version of you that was cool and doing all the things that you wish you could do, you would just want to be them. You wouldn't want to, like, delete you. You would want you to become them. You wouldn't want to just delete you. You would want to become them from who you were, observing that new version of you. So this is like what the dream state is like, and our imagination. So we see ourselves in these ways, and we want to become them, but we don't want to be them. In a sense, to where we still want to be who we are. So we still want to hold on to our past. We still want to hold on to our journeys. We still want to hold on to our stories. We still want to hold on to our memories and all these different things. And there's nothing wrong with that, guys. And what I'm telling you to do is to be at peace with yourself and at one with yourself, so that all of these things can turn into lessons so that you can grow and elevate. This video is powerful, y'all. This video is powerful. And it's going to be out here for a lot of people. Now, this is what's going to make the scientists scared. Guys, get ready. We're going to go into a high gear. All right, a high gear. It's like high-low gear, because I'm going to still make it relatable and cool, but we're going to talk about some deep stuff. So, astrology, right? There's different, your energy is your energy. The different versions of you would be like different frequencies of you. And whatever frequency you're on is going to determine, what reality you're in, right? That's one really simple way to look at it. All right? Now, there is dimensions that we need to talk about, and I see how I have it lined up here, and I remember now. So one of the things the guy was saying in his video was about dimensions and how time, must be this fourth dimension. And that's not true. And this is going to go into the pineal gland, and we're going to connect this, guys. So pay attention. We're going to go deep real quick. You take notes if you want to. When you have zero, right? 0 point, or if you want to make it, and when you're making numbers and you're moving the decimal around, which is a dot, and you move the decimal around, it changes the values by the 0. So 0, that dot, that's all the 0 dimension, right? Well, the thing about it is, the 0 is more like an empty space. It's more like nothing is possible. When you get the dot, it's like everything is possible. So 0 with that dot, and it's funny because a circle, which is like a 0 with and a dot, which is like a decimal in the middle, that is the sun. That's the glyph for the sun. So what is this saying? This is saying everything existing within the possibilities of everything. Something and nothing. This is your first yin and yang. Light and the dark, dark and the light. It's necessary for both of them to exist at the same time. Because of zero, everything is possible. Because nothing, everything is possible. And you're going to understand this in your life. And this is great. How is this practical information? You can use that in understanding alone of the zero dimension, 0 to 1 dimension, that point, right? That point is your first one. That's your one. From 0 to 1 is actually a point. Okay. This is your first area where you get to really realize that it's I and I. You are able to take any thought that you have and understand that there's a complete opposite reality, a complete opposite possibility of that. So say you're a negative person and you're being super negative, a negative Nancy, and you get negative, and you have to understand that all of those negative emotions and thoughts, you could literally see that the opposite is just as likely and possible. It's just as likely and possible. And the only factor between those two realities is you. It's you. Okay? Let's go back into the science real quick. You got zeros and you got ones for their binary code, which can like script everything, right? Because it's like yes or no. If you were to ask a yes or no question, it's very simple, right? It's like you can apply yes or no to almost everything. That's like on or off. It's like on or off. It's like existence and non-existence. It's like infinity and infinity. You know what I'm saying? It's two pieces of the same thing. So it's like a switch. It's on and off. If one exists, well, the opposite is possible. And if the other exists, well, the opposite is possible. And it's just like that. This is the first thing you need to understand. Hermetic principle number 1 is all is energy. This is understanding that oneness. But the second thing you get is polarity. You start to realize everything is different. Everything has polar opposites. There's vibration. Nothing is really staying the same. Everything is in motion. When you understand this, then you realize that if things are always shifting, and I indeed am the center of my universe, then anything is possible that I believe. And anything is impossible that I believe. And the opposite still exists, even though I choose to believe this. So this is a tool that you can use to get out of depression, to get out of negative thoughts, to get out of lack mentality. You can start to realize like, yeah, I ain't got this right now and that right now, but you know what? It's possible that literally in 2 seconds, it can all change. It's possible. It's not impossible. And I'm not telling you to be delusional to the point to where you're playing yourself in your life. It's hard to make moves without knowing yourself completely. All right? So just to get into this, you got the 0, which represents the all, or the point, which represents the all. That point. It's all energy in one point. This is your first dimension, right? This is called the timeline. This is where time existed. Time starts existing straight out of 0. From 0, there's no time. There's nothing. It's everything and nothing at the same time, that's actually 9. But nothingness, 0 itself is like all possibility because it's nothing. That's why we explain that switch. So now we understand 0. Okay, you got to understand that there's also the 9. There's number 9. There's 1 through 9. You always see that 9 is like the last number. But 9 is the number of the singularity. 9 plus any other number is always going to be that same number again. It's the end and the beginning, like the alpha and the omega type of thing, right? It's the beginning and the end. 9 is everything and nothing cycling. This is the motion. This is the in motion. When it's 0, there's no motion. It's null and void. 0 is the void. It's nothing. Null and void. Okay? But once you start getting motion, it's something. Once you have something, it's in motion. It's just going to be that way. Time exists from the first dimension. It's called the timeline. The second dimension, this is a point, which is a perspective. The second dimension is 2 different points. It's 2 points connecting, making a line. But you got to understand that what makes this the second dimension is the fact that it has 2 points. It's 2 points. All right? You're always going to be that point. You're always the point. Okay, you are the point. Remember that. You are always the point. You are always the center point and perspective. You can choose which directions to go. This is what our free will is like. It's a frequency realm. You can go this way or you can go that way. Once you have 2 points, you have a spectrum. A spectrum. Possibilities. The timeline can now be experienced. And this is where you get your third dimension. The third dimension, which is where you get a series of these experiences and you create a collective thing of experiences, and this becomes reality. This becomes your life. This becomes the perception. Your body is third dimensional. Your mind is 6th dimensional. You have 6 senses. And we got to get into this. 6 senses, right? The 5 senses that work with the nervous system, but then the pineal gland, which is the 6th sense, which is perception, which really controls the peptides and the reality that your blood culture experiences, the liquid version of you, your glands, right? The emotional you, the water version of you, the liquid you, your blood, okay? This is the 6th dimension. You gotta understand, you in this middle level is the 6th dimension, and that gives you the ability to choose and have free will and frequency. The body is 3-dimensional. It is what it is. Okay, it's the energy, it's the density of you. But then you have the liquid of you, which is the emotion of you, which is your perception. This is your 6th sense, your intuition, all these different things. But you got to understand, why was 6 afraid of 7? Because after the 6th sense, you get the 7th crown chakra, because 7, 8, 9. 7 is going to connect you to 8, which is infinity, all possibilities, which is 9, and the collection of all possibilities is 9. All right, when you do that, you connect to a part of you that is completely outside of the body of this possibility. And this is known as your astral body, the 9th dimension. Okay, the 9th dimension is the astral body. The 6th dimension is your 6th sense. The 3rd dimension is the physical body and everything that makes this physical energy up. They're all versions of you. Your body is alive. In the 3rd dimension, it's a bunch of cells. It's these cells doing what they got to do. It's a whole nother level to who you are. You damn near a god to your cells. But that's from your 6th dimension. They're not operating the way you're operating. They're operating more like a bug or a dog or a cow or something that doesn't have a pineal gland. That's what makes you different from a cow, a pig, or a horse. All the organs are the same. The design and the structure is basically the same. What makes you different is your 6th sense, your pineal gland. This is free will. This is the ability to choose what frequency. This allows you to be a bridge between the 9th dimension and the 3rd dimension, bringing that astral version of all possibilities. Because you have a crown, you're able to connect to the universe, to the source, who you are, what you are. But who you identify as is usually in your 6th sense. It's usually from this guy. When you go to sleep, and you have a whole new body, and you have a whole new set of eyes, that is your astral body. It's beyond space and time. It can exist anywhere at any time, but guess what? Because of that, it doesn't really exist at all. So what happens when you sync up that body with this body? How do you do that? Your 6th sense. You have to get right. You gotta decalcify your pineal gland. You gotta meditate. You gotta connect to your astral body in the first place. To even have it here, you gotta breathe. Breath. That's like the gas form of you. It's the breath. You pull in your astral body. This is your astral self. You connect to these ethers this way, through the breath. Now, when your physical body, the solid, when the lower one, right, the stomach actually has neurons in it. And then the heart, which pumps the blood, which is the liquid you. Sixth sense, pineal gland. Hormones, peptides. Emotions, thoughts, perception. Controlling the culture of our bodies, regulating that. That's the heart, another place that contains neurons. But then you also have the brain, which requires oxygen. And the heart works with oxygen and the blood. Funny enough. The stomach makes the solid matter. The heart works with the oxygen and the solid matter as a liquid. And it's funny that the brain requires oxygen. Oxygen. More than anything. And that is a gas. This is a gas form of you, spirit. It's all you in different forms. And what you want to do is you want them to be coherent. Coherent. You want your physical body to be on the same frequency as your emotional body. You want your emotional body to be the same frequency as your astral body. You don't want these things to be out of alignment. You want them to be in alignment. When you have all three of these bodies in alignment, then you create a new cycle. This is known as 12. 9, 10, 11, 12. This is 3 by 4. This is 360 degrees. This is your pyramid. 12. 1, 2 equals 3. Okay, this is it. Once you get here, this is God body. This is not only did you go through the creation of reality from the zero, right? From the 0 point, from zero, condensed into all of that possibility, condensed into one possibility is the 0 point that you are, that point in time, which creates the first dimension. It's the point. And then the second dimension where you have a journey, options this way or that way. And then you have the third dimension, which is a result of certain things that created your body, your physical being is a result of certain things, certain codes. And that is coming from the ones and twos. So you're designed a certain way, and your body exists how it exists, and your body got a mind of its own. And you got a relationship with your body. You got to have a relationship with your body. Some people call it Kundalini. The Kundalini is your relationship with your body, and that is guided by your astral self. When you bridge your astral self into your body through the breath, the body can now become coherent with the astral. This is known as God body. This is the 12th dimension. This is when you're living in your dreams. This is when you are the cause to effect. This is when reality and fantasy is blurred. Call them dreamwalkers. Some people call them shamans. There's different names for them. Me personally, I think that's any one person in their purpose. Any one person in their purpose. That's what that is to me. So, from the fourth dimension, not being time, what is the fourth dimension? Time existed from the first dimension. The moment the first dimension existed, time began. Once there was a finite possibility from infinite possibilities, time began. Your timeline began and it just expanded. The fourth dimension is feeling. It's feeling. Numbers 1 through 12 correlate to astrology. Numbers 1 through 12 correlate to source code and vortex mathematics. There's a reason why the sun is usually seen as the center point of all these heavenly bodies and the source. And the sun is represented as a 0 with a point in the middle, which is you. And the sun represents the ego, or your vitality, your source of life. You becoming something from nothing. The sun is a very powerful entity. You have the body, you have the mind, you have the spirit, and then you have the soul. You want to get your soul back. Soul is what you want. You can have your body, you can have your dreams, you can have your way of thinking, but that doesn't mean you're going to have your soul. To get your soul, you need to have control of your body. 3, 1 times 3, which is also 3. This is the body, the physical body. This is energy. 6, which is 2, or also 2, or 2 by 3, which is 6. Okay, 6 cents. This is the liquid version of you, the liquid body, your blood culture, your perception. Your perception. It's the bridge between the solid and your blood literally carries oxygen. It's literally electromagnetized molecules carrying oxygen. That's what they do. And the heart is literally I think you get it. 2 by 3 is 6, the 6th sense, perception. This is your self. This is your ego. This is that life. Okay? 3 by 3, which is 9. 3, also 3, 9. So you got body, mind. Now you have spirit for 9. And this is beyond space and time. It's everything and nothing at the same time. So you can tap into it, any part of it, at any time, at any place. You can go to sleep wherever you want, at any place, at any time, and dream. You can close your eyes and imagine and visualize at any time. That's your astral body. That's the 9th dimensional you. That's the you beyond space and time. And it's recommended to go there to conduct the rest. It's recommended to start and be in the 9th dimension first, because what you're going to do is you're going to know, you're going to have a structure. You're going to be like, okay, I'm in tune with the divine, and the divine is making sure I'm thinking this way, which is keeping me in tune with the divine, and that's allowing my body to be at its highest frequency, at its highest resonance. Or if your body is off, then it's going to be hard to think a certain type of way, or it's going to be hard to connect to your guides, or your highest self, or your imagination, or source, however you want to look at it. So you need a coherence here. That means you need to be healthy in body, 1, 3, energy, or body. You need to be coherent within mind, which is the blood, the liquid. Mind, okay? This is your perception. This is your hormones. These are your glands. All of that. All right? You need to be cool within your mind, which is how you think, how you perceive your reality. You need to have a sovereign control of that. Okay, 2, 3, or 6 are also known as frequency. And funny thing about all the 2s is that they create splits. So you have 2, 5, 8, and 11. 2 is a split. This is also Roman numeral number 5. And 5 is right between 1 and 10. It's a decision. It's a split. 5. These are frequencies. It's this way or that way. You have 8. It's just 2 loops. 8 is really just 2 loops. And that's just all of this and all of that. And then you have 11, which is literally, this is an 11. So 2, 5, 8, and 11, they all represent frequency. 1, 4, 7, 10 all represent energy. 3, 6, 9, and 12 all represent vibration. Vibration. And vibration is the realms of experience. So your body is having an experience. 6, your mind is having an experience. 9, when you dream and you're there, that's an experience. Those are the 3, 6, 9 realms. That's why they represent enlightenment. Because those are the realms of understanding, of really being able to experience what energy is doing at a certain frequency. It creates this vibration, and that is our reality. So the 3rd dimension is the physical reality. The 6th dimension is our mental plane. The 9th dimension is the astral plane. And when you have all of these things coherent and working together, you become this 12th dimensional version of you, known as God body. This is where you know not only are all these things true about you, but they're true about everyone else around you as well. Instead of being like, well, I'm the God of this reality, everything's a reflection of me, the 12th dimension is going to have you become more compassionate and be like, well, that's true for everybody else as well. And this is where love comes in, because then you realize, like, well, because of all these different possibilities, I have to accept people for who they are. And I have to realize that there's nothing better than I want for anybody else but to be in their purpose. And for them to be at their highest version of themselves. And when everybody's in that 12th dimension, that's your golden age. When everybody is at that level of coherence, that's what I believe in. A Christic ascension believes that at any point in time, we can all wake up and evolve to the highest level. A Luciferic ascension wants people to fall off and die and things to disappear that aren't on that frequency, and then you just restart and you just live with that, and you can repopulate, whatever the case, or you just go live alone and you just forever go into isolation and just you alone, forever into aloneness. That's a Luciferic ascension, and it's just as valid. You could do it. That comes with the split. 2, 5, 8, and 11. It's a choice or a gateway, a decision, perspective, an option. That's frequency. This is why you feel like you have free will, because the mind, where perception exists, is free will. You got choices. But always remember that point that keeps those two things together. Always remember the source of that split, and remember that they come from the same place and they're going to end up in the same place. All right? I'm not going to go into the pyramid right now, but that explains everything as well. What I'm going to tell you now is that knowing your power, knowing these things are important, because now you know how powerful you are. Now you know certain things like, for example, energy, meaning one, in astrology is also Aries. Okay? Aries represents cardinal energy. It's the start. It's the beginning. It goes in the direction, it starts things. That's exactly what the energy of one represents. The energy of two, which is Taurus, which is the earthly feeling, the earth, and it's a fixed energy. This is the beginning of construct. This is the two. This is the design. 2D. It's like a blueprint. It's a design. It ain't actualized yet. You know, it's not ready for an experience yet because it's just a design. It's the thoughts, it's all possibilities, but being strung out and made into 2 points to create a spectrum. And within the spectrum, you can create anything. Now, in the third dimension, you have the thing. You have the thing. It's manifested from a thought, from planning and working, which is what Taurus represents, the work, to actually get the work done. Do you get the matter? At the third dimension, it's there to experience and use. It's not to say that it's not having its own experience, or it is. But the thing is, this is how dimensions work. You get into the fourth dimension, this is where things get different for items. This is where we get out of the earth realm from third, which is Gemini, which is the hands and communication. So, and it's experience. You know, it's experience. It's having these three-dimensional things, using them, exchanging them, and using them, having that experience. That's Gemini. Okay, it's going to do all of these things and talk about it, share it, and all this stuff. And you know what I'm saying? That's what they do. So this is a really awesome experience from. This is one of the first places of consciousness, 3D consciousness. And they say that the first level of consciousness that exists in the human body is in the cell. And you're composed of many different cells as in your 3D being. But your 6th-dimensional being is like this one overlord character over all those cells. It's like a god to the cells, to the 3rd dimension, the 6th dimension. And they couldn't perceive you, but you could perceive them. It's like that. That's how your astral body is to you. And then that's how your highest self is to you. When it's got all that under control, it's looking like at you, like from that point of view, like you're going to be all right. All routes you take can eventually redivert back to your purpose. It's a matter of you choosing to take the reins of your life. It's a matter of you choosing to be like, you know what? I'm about to educate myself about what the codes are. What are my codes to me that make up my body, that make up my mind, that make up my astral self, why I dream about what I dream about. How do I control that body? How do I do that? Bro, I make all this stuff, like I have all this stuff written out, journals, pages, all kind of things written out where I can guide people one-on-one. And I love to offer that service to people because it's like it allows them to really like transform their life with guidance, but they're the ones doing the work. They get to own it. I've done this for many people and I've seen their lives go up, skyrocket, to the point to where they come back and pay me again Just because it's like, hey, thanks, that was great advice. What you told me to do is exactly what everything's working out now. And I'm listening, talking to these people, I'm like, man, they life getting better than mine. Like, no, but a Christic ascension assumes that everybody can reach that level at any point in time. But it's not to be expected if I can't do it myself. So everything I'm telling to you, all this information and knowledge that I have, there has to be a practical way to use it. Okay, well, if we can break down all of the energies from 1 through 12, which is full cipher, 360 degrees, this is complete energies. And after this, it just cycles back into itself and keeps doing the same things, right? What you're gonna experience is that all I need to know is what are my codes? Who am I? So I can stay true to myself. Because in this world, there's so many distractions. And within myself, there's so many traumas and so many this and so many that. You guys got to acknowledge this about yourself and be like, you know what? I am doing work though. I'm not completely done. I am actually still doing work. You know, and what better to have than a guide right there with you? I call astrology as a map and compass. It's not a crutch. It's a map and compass. It's something to refer to. It's something to use. It's a tool. It's a GPS. It's to make sure that you're harnessing and saving as much time as you can. And that all of your energy is going into the right direction. I don't care if it's a little bit of energy in a day, or you got to wait for this and wait for that. I don't care. I'd rather wait and take the message from the universe and wait and not rush a process rather than go further down the direction I'm not supposed to go in. And I always say, you 1 degree off the bullseye, you gonna miss. So it's something to keep you oriented. If you don't understand astrology, there's a high probability that you don't understand energy. And it's okay to admit that. You know what it is, you realize that you experience it, but you don't really, when you see these things and experience them, you can't identify them to the point to where you can fully utilize them. Like if you were to look at a stock market grid, would you know what you're doing? No, I see it. Yeah, you can see it. I know you can see it, but do you know what's really going on? That's going to make the difference between a successful trader and a non-successful stock trader, right? So I want you to think about that with yourself. There's people out here who have more control over you than you do because they've gained control of other things. And if you're dependent on those other things at any capacity, you're always going to be under somebody's thumb. So sovereignty in all dimension begins at the root of 0 point, which is you. You are the point. 1, 2, and 3, we just leave it at that because we go into body, mind, and spirit. And you need these 3 things to be coherent. And if you don't know where you are, you know you're not this or that, you should be getting an essential chart reading. You should be getting an essential astrology chart reading so that you can know the key components of you, your purpose, your problems. You're always your own problem. So knowing your problems is letting you know what you need to overcome, what's going to give you your strength. Your traumas, your thought processes, how you love. It's not to sit here and justify why you've been through what you've been through, why you've done what you've done. It's to understand that I can grow and I can do better. And I'm becoming this and I'm shifting into all these different identities. But when will I shift into my highest self? My highest self. 1 is Aries. That's movement. That's the beginning. That's from the point to go. 2 is Taurus. That's constructing things. That's building. That's working. That's the actual earth. That's the actual work. 3 is just Gemini. This is experiences. This is communication. This is the air energy. It's mutable. All the mutable signs are areas of experience. Fixed, all the fixed areas, they really construct things. All the cardinal things, they really start things. All the cardinal energies are what? Energy. 1, 4, 7, and 10. Aries, Cancer, Libra. Yeah, that's cardinal. And Capricorn. 1, 4, 7, 10. I told you. Those are all cardinal energies, and they all represent the energy modality of the number 1. 1, if energy, okay? Number 1. 4, 7, and 10 are doing the same exact thing. Number 2. 2, 5, 8, 11. Those are all your fixed signs. These things construct. They construct. Okay, so right now we're constructing energy because it's the first level, so we'd be at 2, which is Taurus, right? You'd be constructing the energy into something with this fixed energy. 3 is mutable. It's an experience of those things completed. All right, that's your first cycle. Your second cycle goes into what? 4. That's cardinal again. This is the emotional energy. Your emotions is the 4th dimension. How you feel, your emotions, that's your 4th dimension. That's Cancer energy. It's ruled by the moon. Then you have what? Your 5th dimension, which is Leo. This is a fixed what? Fire sign. Your emotions and your passions and your ego and what you identify as, creating your what? Your 6th. The Virgo, which is a mutable earth sign. This is who you are with your 6 senses. They're critical, analytical, rules the mind. It's Mercury, Virgo. It rules the mind. We think, this is perception. We like see from right here. This is a 6th sense, the 6th dimension is a result of your ego and your emotions driving and creating this ego. And then you got what? The work that you do, the actual things that you actually do. And whatever you think about is what you end up doing. This is a 6th sense, this is a 6th dimension that you need to master. If you're doing things and living in a life you don't want to live, if you're working for people you don't want to work for, if you're at service to the wrong things. 6th dimension, used the wrong way. Okay, that comes from a lack of ego, identity, and maybe even honoring your emotions. Then you get what? The 7th, and this is air. This is a cardinal air though. So this is the beginning of communication of ideas. And it's funny, it's a one-on-one thing. This is communicating ideas, air, cardinal energy. This is energy, it's existing. Now we're gonna take this and we're gonna mold this with what? 8, which is Scorpio, which is fixed emotion. You take the emotion, add it to that air, you get what? The 9th dimension, a philosophy, which is Sagittarius. And Sagittarius represents cultures and religions. The culture and religion is based off of emotional connection to an ideology. That's 7, 8, 9, which takes you to Sagittarius. And these are what, when you dream, these are the gods you'll see. These are the things you'll see when you dream, because it's what you believe. And it's another realm of experience. The 6th dimension, you're working and you're walking. This is the earthly experience. This is you experiencing that body. The body is experiencing itself. That's the 3rd dimension. That goes into the nervous system. That's different. When you go into your 6th sense, it's a perception of all of that. And it's a whole nother experience of what's going on. And that's based off of how you think. Then you get 7, 8, 9. You go from ideas, from your direct relationships, usually, with an emotional constriction to them and devotion to them and intensity and spiritual in itself, Scorpio. They come to create a 9th dimension, which is an experience of both of those two things. A passionate emotional connection to ideologies. This is your religion. This is where religion comes from. The dogmatic stuff. Then you go from what? From 9, what? To 10, 11, and 12. You build something from that ideology. That's 10. That's the actual constructed place. This is another cardinal energy. It's cardinal energy. So now that you've built yourself, you're building into the world now with this 10th house, with this cardinal energy of Capricorn. It's solid. Okay? And then you do what? That's a cardinal energy. So what's the next? 11, which is Aquarius. And that is fixed thoughts. So this is literally a government. This is, here's the land, here's a place, here's the empire, a Capricorn. And Aquarius is like, and here's how we think. And here's the society in that. And that right there gives you the 12th dimension. That would be the world that you would live in. And you would experience everything that comes from that timeline, locked in from all of those previous energies. And this is your 12th dimension. And when you dream, all the limitations that you have and all your subconscious programming, all those things, they will be relevant to where you are today. In this place and time now. They will somehow become relevant to this again. Because you are the point of the universe. And that is why I broke down those energies. Once you get to that end cycle, there's nothing left. You just cycle back again. Once you are completely in that whole level, you just go back into a smaller experience again. It just goes right back. It just cycles right back. So once you become God body, you just recreate everything again. You just live that way. But now you're doing it from a cause rather than an effect. If you're not in your God body, if you're not coherent, if you're not understanding this information or seeking to understand more of it, then you got to understand that you're probably not in a certain level of coherence. And yes, you could say, well, that's my journey and that's what I want to do. But I promise you, all roads lead to the source. I would rather just know which way to go and go that way and make sure I'm always going that way. This leads to meditation. This leads to self-mastery. This leads to peace every day. This leads to abundance in a lifetime. This leads to just blessings on blessings on blessings. And I'd rather live that lifestyle rather than suffering and lessons and lessons and lessons. I'd rather not do that anymore. I've done that a lot. To tell you that's not the way to go. And all of that comes from me not being coherent. Me arguing with myself in my head put me in the worst situations ever. Me, my heart and my emotions being somewhere different than where my body is, it always made me lose out on opportunities. And it's nobody's fault but mine and my own incoherence. So at any time you choose to get coherent, you can get on that pathway of your highest self and start receiving the blessings that come with that. Those things you get to keep. So as you pursue your purpose and you achieve success in your purpose, you get to keep all those benefits and rewards. But you do things that are not in your purpose, you eventually gonna have to let those things go when you do choose to go to your higher self, if ever. Because you have that frequency, you are in that 6th dimension. You are right in between. It goes 6 and 12. You are one of those levels right there. It's you and your highest self. 6 and 12. This is 180 is 6. The other 6 is the other 180. Makes full cipher. You have a relationship with your higher self. Are you the higher self? And you know all other versions of you exist? Or are you one of those other versions of you that exist, but on the other side of that is your higher self? That was deep. That was heavy. We still rolling? Yeah, we still rolling. This is good. And you know what? This is a really long one, but at the end of the day, I feel like we could just let that be what it is. Let it echo, let it ring, come back to the video, watch it later, whatever it is. But damn, this stuff was like really important because understanding yourself, understanding your energies, understanding identity, understanding the ego, understanding dimensions, understanding all these different things are going to have you do this one thing, is live an intentful life, a sacred life of purpose. And it's harder than it sounds, but it's what you dream of. It's what you wish of. It's what you strive for. But what it takes to do it is just not that easy. You don't have to sit down and study the stuff that I know. I took the time to do that, to where you could just call me and consult me and I would be great counsel for you. Funny story. Billionaires, do you know what billionaires keep around them? They keep psychics around them, they keep astrologers around them, and they keep numerologists around them. That's what they keep around them. They don't keep emotional counselors, all these other different things, psychological. No, they just keep those guys. Psychics, astrologists, and numerologists. That's how billionaires make their moves. Look, go ahead. I just sit down and research, so you don't got to believe me. I just research a lot and look into a lot. I follow all these stories. I just think it's interesting that is my gift. That is what I do. So I'm going to end this with a dream that I had. And this dream was one of my most powerful dreams. I remember I was this night in the forest and I was just living really hidden and nobody really knew about me, but I just felt super mega powerful. And I was like all black. And I had this big old light in the middle of my chest. And we're like these cyber nights in this whole nother dimension, reality, whatever, right? This whole nother dream space and time and place, right? And I'm looking at it and I'm like, yo, I know I'm powerful, but nobody knows me, but I'm cool with that. And I would look into the villages and I'll see them from the outside looking in, and I would see people with good hearts. And I'd find people with good hearts, and I would do this over thousands of years. And this, I don't know, I dream different, y'all. And over like all this time, I just do this, and I just know this is my history. And there's this one guy I see who's being a really good guy. He's not the strongest guy, but he has great heart. He's fighting for the right, the good, the righteous, and all this stuff. And he goes out to pee or whatever, and I come out of the forest and I walk up on him. I'm like, hey, and he's scared as heck. And I said, give me your sword. I take his sword and I put it into right here, into that light, that glowing area. And in this world, everybody has a different glowing spot, which represents their superpowers. And mine was here. And I just knew what to do. It was like a memory almost. And I grabbed the sword and I put it in my chest, and then I pulled it out, and it was super upgraded. Like, what the heck? And I gave it back to him and I said, here. Now, be like, I forgot what I said to him, but basically, just go out there and do your thing now. So I went back into the forest, faded away. He tried to tell everybody about me. Everybody said, yeah, we heard about him, but you're like, whatever. And then they got this, like, after a while, he became the king. And I'm just watching from the back, like just watching. And I like this dream just because I knew all that power that I had. And I felt like, what's the point of having all that power if you don't empower others? And so I felt like that's a very honorable position. And I feel like this information is going to empower others in some capacity. I can't teach you everything all at once, or maybe I can. But at the end of the day, it's up to you, to what you grasp, what you use, and what you don't use. Okay? This wasn't like a lecture or anything like that. I just wanted to provide the truth about dimensions and reality. And it's just a different type of conversation than people are used to having. So, but I'm here for that. And I know that there's other people here for that. And anybody who has anything they want to say against what I'm saying, go ahead. But the thing is, what I'm talking about is source code. The energies, the dimensions, astrology, you could change all the glyphs, all the signs, all the names and whatever. The energies and what they represent will remain eternal. That is what reality is, and all it could ever possibly be. Is 1, 2, and 3. Energy, frequency, and vibration. Body, mind, and spirit. 6 to 12, 3 by 4, is 360 degrees. That's a square, but it's also your first circle. This is where you get your first cipher. After 12, it vortexes, and it just keeps repeating in a golden ratio. So reaching your highest self, you're going to do that. You came from nothing to experience everything. You just came from zero, from a womb. You came from zero as a point, and you've just grown over time. And you've developed your 3. You developed your body, your physical body. And you developed your 6. You developed your awareness and your cognition and your perception and your consciousness. And then over that time, you developed a connection to spirit and the divine, more, in your astral body. But this is the journey, how you're supposed to take it. And then you end up in the 12th dimension, where they're all coherent. And you're living in your dream. You're living in your reality. You're living in the world that you caused. You're not an effect to anything. You're the full cause. And this is sovereignty in all dimensions. The goal, the route to ascension, is 1, 2, and 3. Easy as that. Energy, frequency, vibration, body, mind, and spirit coming together to create the soul. And you want to be a soul. You want to reclaim your soul. You want to have sovereignty of the soul. And that requires sovereignty of the body, mind, and spirit. You need to be able to have your connection to spirit. You need to be able to have control of your mind. You need to be able to respect and love your body the way it deserves to be treated and loved. That is in alignment with how you think and what you're connected to, which is one and the same. So you can experience the now, and you can experience eternity all at one time. You can choose from the 6th dimension, astral or physical. You can choose at any time. You're in both all the time. Go take mushrooms. You'll be completely astral and physical. Watch. You know what I'm saying? It's just a thing you gotta understand. Regardless of any drugs, psychedelics, or anything else, just know there's no better identity to shift in other than your highest self. Love is understanding all possibilities exist, respecting that, but more so, really being the best version of yourself is the only way that love can truly overflow into others, because that's the best thing that you can offer to everybody. And know that dimensions can be easily understood through astrology. If you ever want a shortcut to understanding the universe and source code, astrology is going to be a major key, which is why I teach it. You could book a reading with me. All the links are there. You can go to my store. In my store, you can book everything very smoothly, very easily, and you've got many options to customize what you want to talk about, when you want to talk about it, and we can really get into it. And I've seen too many results to stop. So I just got to keep going, bro. Like, there's just too many people who have helped, and I know that I can reach way more people and help way more people who really care and really want to make a change and a shift with themselves. So I just wanted to debunk some of those beliefs, and hopefully this can help you go further on a journey. And as I continue to make videos, I'll continue to drop information and do things for y'all where we can eat this in pieces and really like build up to something. So this was a lot of topics in this one, and this was meant to be a video like this. I kind of didn't want it to be so long, but I'm glad because I got a decent amount out. And I mean, I'm not going to drill these things into your head. Just know that at the end of the day, it's on you. Energy, the material, frequencies, the value and the condition. Vibration is the complete experience of that material in a certain condition. Experience 3, 6, and 9. That's it. And you want to control reality, I recommend going to the 3, 6, and 9 realms because they have the ability to change the codes. Read the codes, move the codes. 1, 4, 7, 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 8 are all things that can be controlled by 3, 6, and 9. At 3, 6, and 9 are the levels where you live and where you experience reality. So you can identify with those realms more than the others if you want. Ultimately, you're 0, pretending to be the point, which is actually the first dimension, which creates 1. 0 and 1. Anyway, y'all, this was fun. I mean, got so much more. I could just live on this camera, but thank you for tapping in, y'all. Go ahead and hit those links, like, share, subscribe. I feel like this video is meant to echo for a while, so I'm just gonna leave it here and we'll see what it does over the years. But hey, y'all hit me up if you have any questions. You guys wanna build. You don't have to go straight into booking something. If you want to, contact me. Find a way to contact me. It's all listed. There's a number of ways you choose. And I'll get back to you, and I can answer certain questions, make videos about certain things, or provide specific services to what you might need tailor-made. So here it is. I love y'all. Hey, enjoy this video. I don't know what music I'm gonna put on this yet, but it's probably gonna be fire. I hope you enjoyed it. I produce and make all my own music, so you can hit me up for that too. It is what it is, y'all. Peace. Soular, the magic muse. Love wins.